Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and more. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Since we've been talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta and they're about to start filming this month, it's only fitting that Kenya Moore shows up on my timeline and for us to discuss. We've been talking about Porsha since this whole Simon Gobadia situation has been unfolding, including this Fallon Gobadia interview that's about to come up. If you missed out on that conversation that we just had last night, be sure to check out the links in the description of this video. But Kenya Moore, never to be outdone, is in the news again. And this time it's for defending other housewives in other cities. So as you may recall, if you've been following the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or the Real Housewives of New York, the issue of race has come up, and we've talked about it multiple times here on the platform. But specifically, Kenya decided to take to her Twitter to defend Kyle Richards. So Kenya tweeted this, saying this: "I don't think Kyle Richards calling Garcelle out about not paying her donation has anything to do with color. It's not a black or white issue. It's a green issue. Let's not pull the race card every episode. They weren't cool at the time. Glad they talked it through." She also added this. Fun fact, NENE never paid her $20K donation to the DPS Foundation, and PORSHA, for real, never paid her $5K to the Black Man Lab. Both promised to pay on camera. Neither actually paid. Hashtag facts, hashtag RHOBH, Bravo TV. Here's the issue. We are all growing. We are all evolving, no matter what color you are. And a lot has happened. And I said this when we were talking about Ebony K. Williams and her showing up on the show, bringing up issues of race. A lot of people, especially a lot of these commenters, specifically white commenters, are saying, why is everything got to be a color issue? Even Black people are saying, why is everything got to be a color issue? One thing I feel that Kenya needs to do is give these women grace. And when I say these women, I mean Garcelle and Ebony. And we'll get to what she said in regards to Ebony. The same way that we gave you grace, Kenya, with the whole questioning Porsha's Black Lives Matter movements, and if she was just doing it to be on camera, because things are edited out. You know more than anyone else. Context was edited out. A lot of people came to your defense, Kenya, saying, well, they left out this very integral part and it affected the narrative that we saw on the show. Not to say that's necessarily what's happening in Beverly Hills or New York, but until you've had that specific experience, and we all, people of color, Black people, have had our own specific situations that have been related to race, microaggressions related to race. And every situation is different. And you know what? I have a different opinion about this now because literally just maybe a couple of weeks ago, I had a particular situation of white fragility that I never expected, never experienced before. So overtly in public, that it really changed my perspective on that particular situation. Garcelle has had a different Black experience than you have. Maybe you've never been in a situation where people have questioned if you're going to tip or if you're going to pay for something. Maybe you've never had that specific experience. Yes, not everything is about race, but when you're the only person of color or the only Black woman amongst white women, did Kyle mean to do that because Garcelle was Black? I don't think Kyle had that intention. But it was necessary for Garcelle to share with Kyle that she has to be mindful on the things that she says and does because it can be triggering to someone. Have I ever had the experience of people questioning me if I'm going to tip or if I'm going to be cheap or whatever it may be? No, but I will tell you this, in the back of my mind, there is that underlying thing. And I don't know where that came from. I feel like I always overly tip, if anything. And I think a lot of people of color, a lot of Black people overly tip because they assume that people are going to assume that we're not going to tip or we're going to tip very low. The way that Garcelle explained it on Beverly Hills, it actually changed my mind because I also thought, it's like, well, I don't know if it's necessarily about color, but when she explained her experience of that happening, everyone's experience is going to be different. So if you've never experienced something like that, of course you can't relate, and you have every right to share your opinion. But being a Black housewife on this franchise, being a public figure, people are paying attention to what you say. And you also realize, maybe because you're in Atlanta and maybe because you're part of a Black specific franchise, you don't realize the amount of hate that Garcelle and Ebony are experiencing, being the only Black housewives and the first Black housewives on these shows. I've seen them in my comments, not directed at me, but directed at these women. So I can only imagine what's in their comments on their social media. Hence why Ebony K. Williams said, I'm taking 2 weeks off because I know these next 2 episodes of New York are going to be hot issues, hot topics that people are going to talk about. And she's already seen the hate and the vitriol in her comment section. And so she's like, you know what? I'm not going to be a part of it. I'll be back, but I'm not going to be a part of it right now. I want you guys to see it all play out. The same way that you wanted all of us to give you grace, Kenya, in regards to what you said about Porsha. Because even when we saw the clip, I was like, wait, I got to see why she said something like that, because I don't know Kenya, but I also don't know Kenya to be ignorant. So that's why I was like, okay, let's hear more. And then we found out more, that there was an edited scene that was not included. So we gave you grace. And I feel like you need to give these other Black women grace. But speaking of other Black women, Ebony K. Williams, as you know, as I just mentioned, has taken 2 weeks off as this story plays out on The Real Housewives of New York. We talked about this latest episode in detail. I'll post the link in the description of this video. Ebony has taken these 2 weeks off because of the issues that have been coming up. And yes, Ebony has been bringing up race, but I want to remind people, when they were filming this was in 2020. A lot of us, and I said this before, a lot of us, including Black people, yes, race was always an issue. Yes, race was always important to us. Yes, social injustice was also important to us. But seeing a George Floyd, seeing some of these other Black people on television, caught on camera, being brutalized, changed a lot of our perspectives. It pulled all of us out of our homes around the world to go protest. It was triggering. It put people of color, Black people, in the therapist chair. So if you weren't necessarily active before, you became active in 2020. So Ebony's conversations that she's having on the show, first of all, is necessary. Secondly, I've always said that they needed more color, not necessarily a Black person in New York, because I grew up, born and raised in New York. That's not the world that I see. And I've been saying, it's crazy to me that Bravo has taken this opportunity to add some flavor, some color to a flavorful and diverse city. So the other thing that Kenya decided to say in regards to Ebony K. Williams, because remember, Kenya was in the Turks and Caicos with LUANN. They do have somewhat of a friendship. So she decided, under the episode promotion that LUANN posted for The Real Housewives of New York, LUANN was saying, "Love is in the air, #rhony. Catch it tonight." Kenya commented and said, laughing out loud, "Degrees make you more educated. It doesn't always mean they are more intelligent." Kenya, if you watched the episode, then you would understand what Ebony K. Williams was saying is that at this table, it is a fact, I am the most educated. And we've had this conversation, as I said before, that I think what LUANN was trying to say, oh, she's probably the most cultured, even though you can't necessarily say that, because cultured would mean a variety of different things beyond just education. Because she's like, oh, I know multiple languages. Da, da, da. Okay, but what Ebony K. Williams was saying at the table, I'm the most educated. That's a fact. She has the most degrees. She is an actual attorney. She is a practicing attorney for the last how many years? So that is what she is saying. She wasn't saying she's the most intelligent. Now, that would be debatable. That definitely would be debatable, even though I kind of think she is, based on what we know about these ladies. Based on what we know about these ladies, she might be the most intelligent, because you're living in Sag Harbor and you didn't even realize the history of that area. Understandably, there are things about my own area that I probably don't know in regards to his history, but I'm just saying. But the fact that Kenya Moore decided to take this opportunity, I honestly think this is partially Kenya wanting some attention, because everything has been about Portia in her own voice. But I also think, Kenya, wrong road. And I'm not saying, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, you need to, defend your fellow Black sisters. No, I also just think sometimes you could be quiet. Because especially when we're giving you when you're in this position, we all are out here defending for you. So the least you could do is either keep quiet or say, you know what, that hasn't been my experience, but I don't know what Garcelle's experience has been. I don't know what Ebony's experience has been. If you watch the episode, clearly what Ebony was saying in that particular scene was that she's the most educated at the table. If we're talking about education, that is a fact. It doesn't mean that she's the most intelligent. She never said that, even though I think she might be. But here on the channel, I'm not team Porsha. I'm not team Kenya, because a lot of people were like, oh, you guys are team Kenya. No, I'm a straight shooter. When you say something that I disagree with, I don't care who you are. I'm going to bring it up. And look, we have a right to disagree. Does this mean I don't like Kenya anymore? Does this mean I won't support the Real Housewives of Atlanta or Kenya or her endeavors or Kenya more hair care? Hit the drum beat. But no, it doesn't mean that. But when you say something that I feel that is dangerous, partially it's dangerous because, as I said to you before, if you look at the comment section of these fellow housewives, you're coming from a housewives city that generally a lot of Black people watch and support. So your comment section is going to be very different than two cities where they're the only Black women and there are a lot of white people, a lot of white women, but also some Black women. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some Black women say, oh, not everything's about race. Not everything's about race, but I hope you guys understand when you say not everything is about race, it's the same as saying I don't see color. Not everything is about race, but racism still exists. That's the underlying thing that when people say, oh, not everything's about race, racism still exists. It's still systematically within our systems. And I don't even think people realized it until these last few years, how ingrained it still is in our society, in our laws, and in the people of America. So Kenya, think about that before you tweet, before you comment, because as a Black woman, these are your Black sisters that are on the same franchise as you that need your support and not your non-support, not your critique. But as I said before, you have a right, as I have a right to critique what you're saying. I want to know what you guys think, though. We love to have the conversations, but let's have a healthy conversation in the comment section. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload.